abstraction, quite a simple concept. We have a lot of complexity here in the center, but we don't need to understand that. All we need to understand is that we enter from this side and something happens in the middle and we leave here. Now, if I'm working in a team and someone has explained to me what method I have to call to calculate someone's tax return or do something complex, I don't really need to go through all of the code and understand. I just need to know how I call that method and what the return type is going to be. Now, imagine you're zooming out of all the complexity and you're just getting a view of how to use something, in the same way that perhaps a driver of a car doesn't need to be a mechanic, doesn't need to know how the engine works, he just needs to know how the controls are. This is a concept known as abstraction, and it's one of the advantages of object-oriented programming. Now the last point, I mentioned that interfaces, APIs, application programming interfaces, they're kind of seen as contracts, if you know what I mean. Now again, this is a little bit possibly outside the curriculum, but if you were to write an interface for something, it would consist of all of the public methods of your class, and if you implement an interface, which you may see in some code if you look at it, it means that you have to create those methods and they have to conform exactly with the signatures of those methods. That means that basically, if I want, instead of just all of the public methods and variables that I create, I can standardize that and declare that as an interface, which is quite useful if your system is ever going to be used by someone else's system.